I really do appreciate that. And I do want to point out, Charlie told us there was no silver bullet. He said that many times. He said that healthcare is tough right now and that we really have to look and we have to accept the fact that some things aren't good and that some things are getting better. But, I think if you go back and look in the records, we discussed telemed 3 years ago. And it didn't go anywhere. And so I kind of wonder where we might be today if we would have jumped into that, 36 months ago and chewed some of those costs down. Because some of the primary results from our conversations were, of course, the narrow network. And everybody from Columbus and in this area understands we have a very tight medical community here. I tell everybody Columbus is the biggest small town in Georgia. There's a lot of conversation that happens across vocational and professional lines that we have an opportunity to build relationships. And even though we have 2 primary hospitals here, there are relationships within those hospitals that I think developing a narrow network is not going to be complicated if we wanted to do it here. And we've been in some of those networks before. Ron Hudson has been my physician, been my children's doctor since they were born, and he is still my physician. And I do go for my annual checkup, and he is the one that takes care of any chronic issue I have, which the fact that he's not a mental health professional, all he can really address is the fact that my triglycerides get a little high every once in a while. And he prescribes cardiovascular exercise because he knows I won't take a pill. But that's the guy I want to see. And if he falls outside the narrow network, then I know I have to come off my wallet and pay that little bit of extra to get the care that I want, that I'm comfortable with. And that's built in, and I knew it all along. One of the most incredible things that came up was the opportunity for city employees to go and sit down with healthcare counselors that not only counseled them on how to manage their healthcare expenses, but would work with them on other finance issues dealing with healthcare, not only there that day, but down the road, especially those that have children that have chronic issues. And we've got some city employees that have some serious things under their roof. And I want to point out real quick that on the Peach Care thing that was brought up, when it was Peach Care and the Medicare aspect were all things that we felt could have been brought up in an educational forum. We're not trying to push anybody in any direction. What we're trying to do is show every option available so employees can feel that they have an opportunity to make a choice in their health care. Health care is extremely important to the men and women that work for this city. We've got, you're talking about the gentleman out working on the road, and you're talking about the police officer in the car and the lady down in the park doing their jobs. With the stress of worrying about family health care, what kind of quality employee are we actually getting? We talk about return on investment. What return are we getting from an employee who is out there and stressed over trying to take care of their family, especially some of these families that have these horrific situations that really, to be honest with you, the health care is the reason they work for the city. It's not for the salary, it's the health care. Families qualify for Peach Care. A family of 3 making $49,632 qualifies for Peach Care. A family of 4 making $59,904 qualifies for Peach Care. I think Councilor Thomas said it earlier. I think we have a lot of employees that would catch up in that net with those type salaries. But
Randy, let me ask you before you
yes,
go on.
ma'am.
Because someone mentioned this to me, actually texted me, it was a question I don't know the answer to, that it's not just income-based, they also consider your assets. So you could be a family of whatever making 54, right, but because you own a house and 3 cars or whatever your assets are, that could disqualify you.
I think it probably could, but on these salaries, looking at, rarely have we found some of the more extreme situations where the people are really well off. I'm not going to get into.
Yeah. I'm not talking about being well off. I'm talking about owning a modest house.
Yeah.
If owning a modest house could disqualify you, that would be a risk, particularly when we're talking about children.
Yeah.
If I knew for a fact that, and I don't know, maybe Retha can mention it to us the next time she comes up, but if I knew for a fact that it was $59,000 and I'm absolutely qualified, no questions asked, well, I would just keep my child close to me for 2 months and let no germs come in or whatever. But if it's $59,000 and they're going to weigh how much child support I get
You're-
and all these kind of things.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right, and all of that comes out in the educational process.
Yeah,
All those
that's what I
questions.
think would
That's
be
what I'm saying. They
waived.
look at me and say, Randy, and I can tell you, my granddaughter, my son is her primary caregiver. She's on Peach Care. She sees the same pediatrician that my friends' children see who aren't on Peach Care. Some of them employees within the government. They know my granddaughter. If you're on Facebook and you have my wife's your friend, you know my granddaughter. But that beautiful child is on Peach Care, and as her grandfather, I would not stand by and let it. But my son had to go through the process and met the qualifications, and a city employee would have to do the exact same thing. What we're offering are options for them to look at, because we have some families that feel they're trapped between the fences, and there's nowhere for them to go but to continue struggling. I mean, I don't want to get into.
I just wouldn't want them to be surprised by a disqualification
Yeah.
letter. That's my only concern,
Right.
is
And-
that them think
Christie-
they qualify and they don't.
Yeah, oh, no, you're right, and that's the thing where the education on the front end has to come in. And that's where partnerships with the state that deals in Peach Care on the day, and, we all know there's offices on Comer Avenue, all they talk about is Peach Care from early in the morning until late at night. And those individuals are paid with our tax dollars, and they'll come in and educate us on more than we'll ever want to know about Peach Care. And those are the kind of resources we have to tap into if we're going to do this the right way. But along with the Medicare and everything else too, it's an option. And if it touches two people, those are two individuals that will put an additional $47, if those numbers are right, into their groceries, into their fuel tank, or into their power bill, if that's what it is. $47, there's a lot of us in this room that, that's just two 20s, a 5, and a couple of singles. But to somebody else, that's a substantial bit of money. That may be the difference between having their power on or their power off. And these are city employees I'm talking about. But we also discussed, and I know, that there's going to be pushback on this, but we've also discussed about the telehealth. And there are also electronic options for dealing with chronically ill. But our goal is, and I heard somebody else say that, employees go there and they get free medication. I don't know what free is. Somebody pays for free. So I don't know how we get things free, but I'd love to know that information, because somebody's paying for it somewhere. And the intention of the health clinics that I studied way back when this was first brought forth by Tom Barron was, the ideas I